like way, what's it called? Way off the script, way out of context. But take it as that. Just take it as that. Um, I just I just can't be faffed. Um, I think for me, yeah, always when I wanted a podcast, right, I was like, I knew that even if there's a subject matter, which I know that I do all the time, we still have to go off script a lot of the time. Do you know what I mean? It's like the episode that I have done on here already, which I spoke about reading the room and what else? I think reading the room might be the main one. Reading the room might be the main one that we've done, but I do feel like I obviously wanted to have more episodes like that because it's just like it's so grating. Um, to no, for me was what I thought when I wanted a podcast is that I never wanted to feel like I was boxed in. Like that's never what you want. Like when you create something, it's not a thing where you want to feel like you're boxed in. You want to have lengths and you just want to have like all these different layers. It's not as a thing that you want it to be a one mind thing. Do you know what I mean? Like this podcast is about film, yeah, it's about film and TV, but it's more of a thing where it's like you need to sometimes go off script and you need to talk about things. You need to talk about things that are on your mind, and you need to let them out, and you need to make hope that there are people out there that can also, you know, that can also hear you. Oh yeah, Read the Room is the only one that I've done, right? But then of course, my other segment aside from like film and TV is obviously also conversation with the creators. We won't get into that. Literally, this is this episode for me basically is about it's about everything that's happening in the world right now. It's about everything that's going on in the world. So yeah. Get a tea, have a toast. I don't know, have something. We're gonna be here for a while. Yeah. Most of what I've been saying actually I posted on my TikTok today because I've been doing lots of yapping. That's why I titled my TikTok Shan Yaps a lot because I do talk an awful lot. And I'm just like, that's why I have these places as a way to speak. And you know, the thing is, what I realized about the fact of talking, you're like, I feel like when you grow up and you haven't really spoke a lot in your childhood, it's a thing where when you get older, now all you want to do is speak. Even though I obviously know that I go in between of non-verbalness and verbalness, like I do that a lot. And it's a thing that's like, I don't know, like people always say whenever they're talking about like, you know, to do with like ADHD or things like that, it's always a thing where people will say, oh yeah, when I was younger, I had it and I knew that I had it because it was onset in my childhood. And then for me, it's never been like that. It's been a thing where I feel like I've always like been verbal all the way through, but it's a thing where it's like I felt like as a child that I did feel like I didn't have much of a voice, and now it's more of a thing that's like if you get me in a flow, I won't shut up. That's also the craziest thing. If you get me and I'm really wanting to speak and I have something that I'm passionate about, then I'm gonna speak for ages. It's why most of these episodes on here are actually 1 hour long, because it's like they're all so long. Like they're all so long because I have so much to say, and it's just like I know that that's something that's present in me. But basically, I feel like, anyway, I'm talking about men today. I mean, that's where I'm going to start off anyways, just because that's what I've been talking about today. So it's like, that's where we're going to start off because it's mainly been the main thing. But I'm sure we'll go through everything because the world's in chaos right now and we have to talk about it. Otherwise, we'll go crazy. This is the main thing. That's what I was thinking to myself. It's like, don't keep things on your chest. And I've always thought that about speaking. I thought that about writing. I think they're both two things that it's like you need to have a voice and you can't be silent. Like if there's something wrong, talk about it, journal it, do any of these things. And I think I'm only now realizing how much of a power that writing is, and how much also like how, I mean, speech for me has always been powerful. I feel like it has been, as you can see, as in when we see great leaders have speeches, you can see that speech is a powerful tool, right? But I think for me as a writer, I'm realizing that writing is also a great tool as well, because it's like you're being able to put your feelings into words, because it's like we all know what it's like to feel something, but also to put it out there and to also express it in a whole article is insane. And I realize that when I've written something and it tells me how long the duration of the article is, and I'm like mind blown that it's been that long. But then I'm also like, I feel like after writing, you always feel like, you know, I think it's like that metaphor of like, oh yeah, there's bricks weighing on your chest, and it's like when you've written something, it's like one brick comes off every time individually, because no matter what you're writing about it because it struck a nerve in you. So it's like you're battling it out, like, but separately, individually, in different ways and in different forms and in different subject and topics that you're writing about. Also, obviously, the strength of the what's it called, the greatness of journaling, and how helpful that is. I mean, journaling has never really worked out for me that much, because I think for me with journaling, like I do it sometimes, but it's a thing where it's like, I mean, I guess you could say I have a diary, but it's like I don't actually have, like, I don't have a physical diary, but I do have like a digital diary as such, if that really counts as having a diary. But obviously that's the only way I would say that I have one. But even in doing that, it's helped so much. But of course, like I was saying about writing and speech, and I was talking about how they're just powerful things, is that obviously even having my digital journal slash diary has also been so helpful as well, because obviously it's like I'll just write the date in and I'll write all other thoughts I've had on that day, and it's like I needed to do that. I needed to do that, and I needed it. But anyways, I kind of want to get now to the point of why I decided to do this episode, right? It's just because all this stuff with all the fact of all these like abuses has been crazy. It's been mad. It's been enlightening. Like, enlightening. I just mean it's just been shocking. My phone's also charging, which is great. It's a great time for me to do this episode anyways. It's just like, I think I was gonna start off saying by like how there's always a man in every single kind of story, or you know what I mean? Or I guess it's like, you know what's crazy to me is that it's like we as women, we have so much patience and like grace when it comes to men. Like the thing is that men will be like, oh yeah, men really hate women. Women really hate men, and that's why we don't want to date men. We don't want to get married to men. We don't want to have babies with men. You know, they'll say all of these things, right? They do all of that, right? But then we're not the type to do what they do, which is to, to put, they like to put these things out there about what women are and who we are. Like the same way how we've done with Andrew Tate, and how then there's that whole term of incel, and it's the fact that Andrew Tate has spouted that word. He spouted that message, and he's created a bunch of robots. Right? He's created a bunch of robots to put bad messages out there about women, right? We haven't done that though. Do you know what I mean? Like we could have done that. Yeah, we could have done that, but we don't do that. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not helpful, right? The fact of the matter is that in every equation, men is the problem. Right. So, in a way, what I said that just then sounded like a drop mic moment, but it's really not. But it's just, what I'm trying to say is that men are the issue 9 times out of 10, right? So, the fact of the matter is that they can't, there's no way that they want to try to make us look bad or paint us in different ways, when it's like, they are the problem, and we're always kind of rehashing the fact that they are the reason for the way that society is. Okay? Basically, in my rant, which is now, but also when I was talking on my TikTok, I was basically saying how I wrote an article that was titled, If I was reborn, I wouldn't be... Hold on, I need to check the title again. But if I was reborn, yeah, if I was reborn, I wouldn't be a woman. And obviously, the whole message of that article was just to say that, like, the world is against me, right? And the world is against women. Do you know what I mean? There's so much strains and so much stuff that makes it hard for women to even just exist. Like, we're really not allowed to just do that. We're not allowed to just be. Do you get it? There's always some guy, like, those times when you'll just be having a relaxed day and a man will come into your business and he'll say, "Why aren't you smiling?" We said, "You don't even know me. You don't know what's happened in my day for you to ask me to smile. What do I have to smile about? First things first." Do you know what I mean? What do I have to... Because you'll have men in power and men in charge that women don't get the chance to do that. Do you get it? Like, they don't get the chance to do that. But now you want to be asking me, I should smile. Ain't nothing funny. Like, ain't nothing funny. But you want to tell me to smile. Yeah, sure. Was that I was going to talk about how, like, oh yeah, I was going to talk about anime as well, because the fact of the matter is that that whole community scares me, because I mean, even though I'm in it, oh, sorry, I say that with a pinch, but of course I'm in it, because it's like you say when you're in something, because it's like if I'm doing it, like I'm watching anime, I'm going to anime events, and I'm doing all of the right things, obviously I'm in the community. Okay, but the fact of the matter is that even men find a way to put a damper on that community. You guys will be like, really? And I'm like, yes. How do they manage to ruin everything? That's my thing. I'm really confused. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how it works, but it's really weird. And you know what's really aggravating? Because you'll see those TikToks all the time. That the most of the time when any woman wants to talk about an anime, men, because that's the thing. There's always been that message that anime was never cool, right? Which, of course, for a long time it wasn't, right? For a long time it was not cool. But then it became cool, like, I don't know when it became cool, because, I mean, the thing is, it wasn't cool when I was at school. Yeah, it wasn't cool when I was at school. It wasn't cool for a little while after that. But then it became cool, like, I don't know, maybe new gen, and like, I don't know, like 2022, or like around that type of moments, or like era. But it's the fact of the matter is that, and then we'll be quick to say, "Oh, what's a woman doing here?" Like, do you know what I mean? In anime or in the community, and I'll be like, "What do you know? I know more than you." Like, and I don't like that. The thing is that, like, when women do that, when we do that, like, I think when we do that TikTok about when we see a man having matcha and listening to Fiona Apple and Kate Bush, we're actually serious, because it's weird. This is why I said, like, it's weird. But the anime thing doesn't work. They think that argument makes sense, but it doesn't. The matcha thing is, like, I feel like, no, I wouldn't say much claim on the matcha thing, but I do get the matcha girlies. I get you guys. I wouldn't say I have much issue with it. If a man wants to drink matcha, I'll go right ahead. But the thing is, I would say that I do have an issue with, of course, is with them. Yes, listen, people like Fiona Apple and Kate Bush. They're doing it for appearances, and they're doing it to lure women, and then when they lure them, they don't want them. I said, yeah, you're weird. You're weird. You did it as a booby trap, but then after you've set the trap and you've caught a woman, then you're gonna throw her back out again. I said, that makes no sense. Like, this is what I mean. It makes no sense. And then the thing that I've always said, actually, because I did a TikTok one time where I was like, what did I say? Yeah, I said, I said, men listen to Kate Bush, and I wasn't joking. I was absolutely serious. How could a man ever relate to the experience of listening to Wuthering Heights by Kate Bush? What would be the feelings in there that would make them be like, oh my gosh, this song is for me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this song is for me, and I can relate to this song. But the song is, it's me, Heathcliff, it's me, Kathy. And I said, is your name Kathy? As I not even to say, well, I told myself, not even to say that we should, like, I don't know, take music that seriously, but I know that I do. I take music 100% seriously. Like, I need it. Like, when I listen to music, I said the lyric has to come, like, it has to relate to me in some way. And that's why I guess when I'm listening to Kate, I just know that, like, yeah, it's a woman, like, it's sang by a woman and made for women, basically. Do you know what I mean? It's not hard, right? It's not hard. But I think the craziest thing is when men want to try to remove women from, like, from community. That's what I mean, to completely erase us. That's what I mean. They don't want us in spaces that they feel are predominantly theirs. Which, is small things like I say small things, but they're actually quite big. But like and sports. There's more, but just like I can't think of it right now. But there's literally more. But there's all of those things, right? They'll say that women aren't allowed in these spaces, and it's just crazy. What do you mean? What do you mean that we're not allowed here? And that's always what annoyed me, I guess, with watching anime. And then when a man will say, "Oh, like, what do you know about anime? Like, you shouldn't be here." Like, do you know what I mean? That's crazy. Anime doesn't belong to you. And you know what I mean? They'll say that anime is not for women, but it's like, it actually is for us. Like, it's unisex. First and foremost, if we're gonna, if we're going to make this a gender issue, it's actually unisex. If you want, like, if you want to, we can make it a gender issue. But even if it was, we can still say it's unisex and everyone can watch it. Yeah. That's the main point, anyways, that I'm trying to push forward, is that I'm fed up. The thing of the matter is why I guess today a lot I was watching, obviously the news about Chris Brown came out, which was that he was freed from jail. Well, I mean, what was it? No, bail. Sorry, they requested his bail, and now he's out of jail. And then his tour's still gonna carry on, and I was like, that's crazy. I thought, like, it was a thing where I thought that, I don't know, it was a great dream. I mean, a lot of us, which was crazy, obviously we were all celebrating. When we found out he was getting arrested, we all celebrated and we were all so glad. And then it comes to find out that actually he's not going to stay in jail. He's going to get out, and he's also going to go out and perform as well. And everybody who wanted him to perform, they will still get to. Because there's people obviously who their issue was that they were like, "Oh, can I have my ticket back? Can I have my ticket back?" We said, "What? You're asking about your ticket? Tell them we want him to stay in jail. Like, your ticket is the least of our worries right now." You know what I mean? That's crazy. That can even probably bring me back to when I did my Read the Room episode, because I'm like, what do you mean? We're trying to arrest a known abuser, by the way. Like, actually, we're trying to actually, like, deconstruct this whole thing. We're trying to make sure abusers go to jail and they're not able to abuse more. That's what we're doing, and you want to start talking about your ticket. Um, just like, please. I said that's not what you should be focusing on. It's crazy. And I don't know. I think to myself, when I saw the news, I was surprised. I mean, sorry, I also wasn't. I mean, I wish I could have been. You know what I mean? It's a thing where, like, you wish you could be surprised. It's just because the world showcases to us time and time again that, like, you can't, like, yeah, you can't think that, I don't know, you can't think that things are gonna go your way. And especially when it comes to people, obviously, like how I mentioned, it comes to people in power. It comes to how, Kamala Harris ran for president in America, and the thing was that she was never going to win. Like, that was the thing. She was never going to win. She was up against Trump, so the world was against her anyway. Do you know what I mean? And that's also what I guess I was saying in my article as well. It's the fact that women they're not destined to win anything. Or that's what society will tell us anyways, that we can't be winners. We are not the prize. Do you know what I mean? We're actually just, I don't know. bottom feeders, or I don't know, whatever phrase it is, but we can't really succeed. Or, well, the world doesn't want us to anyway. Do you know what I mean? And I also think, because of what I was saying on TikTok again, was that confronting those things and writing that article was mind blowing to me. I was like, wow, like at 22, like I feel like it was almost like, because some people say that thing when it's like, what's it called? You go through that thing where your brain develops when you turn 25 or whatever. But I was like, at 22, I'm realizing like my entire existence. I'm realizing what it means to be a woman, and I'm realizing what it is that I have to be, how and like what I need to do to exist and like survive. Yeah. Because it's like they just tell us so many things about what it is to be a woman anyways, as in to be kind, to be graceful. But you can't really. It's just like, it's like be graceful, but you can't be graceful in the way that, like, I don't know, in the way that men dug us down, and then they just have the weirdest views on things, you know? I guess, and I think what always weirds me out is like, yes, they have views about things which are nothing to do with them. Like, I don't know, shave your legs. And it's like, my legs are mine. They're not yours. Like, I don't know why you thought that you had choice in that. And that also, remember, and I guess remember the abortion rights, and it's like, this is actually my body, my womb. So how did we get to you telling me that I can't abort my child? I'm really confused. Like, this is what I mean. The concept is astounding. Um, and I guess, anyways, the only reason I'm doing this episode is because if I don't talk about these things, I might explode. Because I guess I'm just stunned. I'm just stunned that this is the way the world is. And I think what's so crazy is that when you're younger, yeah, when you're younger, it's like you don't realize these things. But and I've always said when I was growing up, I always thought I wish somebody would have given me the heads up. Which is so funny because of course that wasn't gonna happen. But I wish that somebody would have told me that the world is not like, but I think it's crazy because as a child they want you to believe those things. I guess that's just what the product is. Like, you know what I mean? When you're a child, they probably want you to live in the fairy tale forest. And I think it's the thing that you're in the fairy tale forest for so long that you find it hard to get out of it. Do you get what I mean? That's why I sometimes just don't think that it's a good way. And that's why I guess I think on lots of my articles as of late really have been quite telling to me anyways, because they've just been me discussing things that I've realized. I think another one was about children having free will, and that was the thing about how I don't want to enable my kids to believe in religion. Like, isn't like religion as a, I guess religion as a concept, and just religion just in general, it's a thing that it's like if they want to be religious they can be, but it's like I don't think that if I was to have them that there would be things in the house that would make it seem like they live in a religious household. And you guys might think, oh my gosh, that sounds so selfish, but it wouldn't be like that though. I think to myself that if I wanted to, I would like, what's it called, I would teach them, because that's what we're supposed to do, right? As parents, you're supposed to teach your children things. So it's like if they wanted to know, I would tell them, right? But it wouldn't be a thing where I would make it what is it? I wouldn't make it compulsory. Sorry, it's the word I was looking for. I was like, what's the word where it's like you're told to do things? But yes, I wouldn't want it to be a compulsory thing. I would want it to be a thing where they learn it on their own. And that's the main thing. And I just do think that a lot of the time when you're born, it's like you're said to do things that it's like I didn't have any say in that, but it's like you're made to do things that, like, yeah, you don't want to do, but you do them because it's like you're young and you've been brought into this world. It's almost like you feel like you have to have what's the word? You have to have respect, and I guess on top of, again, grace, of just like, of being like, oh my gosh, yes, you birthed me, so I'm going to do whatever it is that you say. But it's just like, no, because if I don't want to believe in God, then I'm not going to. So that's my thing. I just think that's what I was trying to say about kids. But then that's what I'm also saying back again to the teddy bear forest, is that it's not good that, I guess, us as children, that we're conditioned to believe the world is great. Then we come to age, like we come to of age, sorry, and it's like we're now confused because we didn't have any idea. But we need to at least have right, we need to have at least some kind of idea. Like, you can't just, I don't know, you can't just bring us here and then just like throw us into it, and that we don't really know what we're doing. When I was younger, I felt like maybe there was invisible signs anyways as to what society was like, but just this type of thing of like, even when you're young, even when you're young, there's still these like constraints on what you're supposed to wear. Like the fact that people would be so bothered when you were a young person and it was a thing where like, oh no, you can't wear pants. We said, what do you mean? What do you mean I can't wear pants? Like, honestly, that's what's so weird. I think to myself, when you're younger, it's like you're told to wear these dresses and you're told to wear pants and like, I don't know, and wear dresses. But then when you're older, then it's like, no, I don't want to wear a dress. And I'm not going to do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to do it, basically. I think it's also a thing as a child, it makes you view yourself as an object. Like, even before, it's weird, even before you come into yourself, basically, and you experience puberty, it's like you still kind of like, it kind of feels like you're dressing yourself up like a doll, though, in some ways. It's weird. Like, it's your body, but it almost doesn't feel like it is, at the same time, because it's more of a thing where it's like, what are all of these things for? You know, because this is the thing. That's what I mean. That's why that thing that I just said made me think about the fact that it's like people will be like to you, "Oh, who are you dressing up for?" And it's like, really, we're not dressing up for anybody. But it's a message that it feels like gets installed, like, I don't know, very early on, which is weird. But I think that, like, yeah, it's the thing where when you grow up, you realize, actually, I'm not dressing up for anyone. I'm actually just dressing up for me. And like, because I can. But it's very, very strange. Okay, sorry. Back to Chris Brown, anyways. It's just like, yeah, him being freed was not surprising. I think, oh yeah, that's how I got lost on that whole power thing as well, innit? Because I guess I was talking about how yes, people in power are the ones that get away with most crimes. And yeah, it's beneficial to them. Like, do you know what I mean? All Chris Brown had to do was pay what was it, a 5 million bail, and that's probably like a piss in the water to him. Like, it's actually generally nothing. Like, he has loads of money, and it's like, yeah. And you know, also what's scary is that I guess most of us, hello, I guess, actually, let me just talk. I'm going to talk for myself, actually. But as in, I remember being little and growing up as a Chris Brown fan. And then it's a thing where it's like, we've helped him become famous, but we didn't know. Like, this is the thing, we didn't know him. Like, we still don't. Like, the funny thing is, of course, let's also like not forget that we don't know these celebrities, and we do this a lot. Do you know what I mean? We do this a lot where it's like we think that we know celebrities, and so we feel like, oh my gosh, when they do something, it's like, oh my gosh, it's life changing, and it's a betrayal. It's like, we make it seem like, oh my gosh, I just saw you last week and now you're doing this. Do you know what I mean? We see it like that, like they're our buddy or something, when they're actually not, and they don't really. I know it's funny because it's like they don't owe us anything, but then we're also like, haven't I helped you to succeed? Yes, because if I didn't pay for your albums or listen to your songs or pay to go to your concerts, then you wouldn't really have any of your money. So I guess sometimes you do look at it that way. And I think, of course, that's why, in a ways, when I mentioned, when I said about the fact that people were sad about their tickets, of course, I in a way, I understand people's frustrations, because it's like, but then I think to myself also, no, because if you're buying Chris Brown tickets now, then there's obviously something fundamentally wrong. But I just mean, I guess I would have understood it, like, more so a thing of, like, if you kind of a thing, if maybe you didn't know as much about Chris Brown as, like, maybe a lot of us do. Like, as in, if maybe it's like, yes, you used to listen to him, you don't now. Like, literally, it's crazy, because 1 second ago, like, even when I wasn't recording, I was just singing Take You Down just a second ago. And do you see what I mean? Do you see what I mean? It's the fact that, like, when we listen to artists, they have such a hold on us. Even when they do something wrong, it's still a thing where, like, we'll start singing their songs, and it's like, we don't mean to. It's just already, like, it's just installed in us. And I guess what I was trying to say about the fact that I was a Chris Brown fan, and then it's just like, he did all these things that just, yeah, I feel like he did all these things that just made it, like, easy to, like, not listen to him anymore. Like, I know that sounds weird, because then when I say the comment, I'm like, but people who listen to Chris Brown are not gonna agree with what I just said. Like, that's why I'm like, of course, for me, it felt easy to be like, oh my God, I don't want to listen to him anymore because of all the stuff that I hear about him. Because then I do hear it, because I guess sometimes people will be so oblivious and so blind. And if someone's listening to Chris Brown, then they might not know everything that we know. But then it's like, they might just listen to his music, which sometimes people do. Like, what's funny is that most of us, sometimes we like to have, like, unhealthy obsessions, but I call them unhealthy. They're not that bad, but as in, we will, like, dive deep into somebody, like, in a celebrity. It's a thing where it's like, we'll know everything about them. Like, we'll be like, I know where they went to school because I checked on Wikipedia, like, yesterday. But it's a thing like that. But I think to myself, there are some people out there who literally just like support people and, like, don't know anything about them. Like, I think that's the thing. Like, I know that I think to myself, oh yeah, that's not normal, because I have to, when I'm supporting somebody, I have to dig deep into them, and I have to research their life. Because if I don't, then I'm gonna feel really weird. But I kind of just like, right, I want to know, like, what kind of house they're living in, and, like, who they're dating. And it makes us sound like we're stalkers, but it's just also for our benefit, right? So it's just like, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm just saying somebody might be completely oblivious to him, even though that would be really weird, because he is Chris Brown. Do you know what I mean? That's why I mean it would be weird, because he's such a big star. So it just makes you think to yourself, it would be weird if you hadn't heard about the things that he's done. And then the biggest one, obviously, being his whole thing with Rihanna. Basically, it's his number one, like, it's crazy. It's like, it's the worst of his crimes, basically. It's number one anyways, just because. And the craziest thing was, when he did that, it was like, no, it's weird. Like, even I guess, I remember seeing, I think they did a Chris Brown documentary. I don't know if anyone has seen it, but they did a Chris Brown documentary, and in that documentary, it was crazy, because it was like, after the thing happened with Rihanna, he came out being apologetic, but it doesn't really even feel like he's apologetic anymore. Like, that was still him being young C Breezy as we know him. Like, that was him still as a young-ish guy in the early days of his career. So it was like, him being apologetic was like, it was pretty, like, normal. But it feels a thing now, like, the Chris Brown that he is now, he wouldn't even think about apologizing. Like, this is the thing. And I mean, obviously what he's done was, is it grievous? Yeah, it's grievous bodily harm, right? GBH. So it's a thing where he wouldn't probably even say sorry for this. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like a thing that he's done so many crimes that I guess he's made it maybe I meant in his shoes, sorry, from his perspective, he's made it be like, oh my gosh, it's a normal thing for him to do, to just attack people, and like I don't know, and maybe I guess it makes you wonder, like back then, from hitting Rihanna, maybe he was generally sorry. That we don't know, but maybe he was, because obviously I feel like when I saw that video in the documentary, it was when he was at, like, I think maybe it was at BT or something. Yeah, it might have been one of the BETs or something. Yeah, when he was there at the BET, sorry, he was like, it was, so yeah, it was shortly after he had done his attack basically on Rihanna, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, and I'll never do it again. Basically, that's what he said, and I do think, anyways, that's an abuser, like, what's it called, abuser mentality, if you think about it, because they're very much so, like, oh yeah, I'm sorry and I won't do it. Like, I think that happens quite a lot. Or maybe it's a thing where they pretend to come off like they feel guilt, but they don't. But what I'm trying to say is that I meant those two of him, they're two completely different. Because I just mean, I don't feel like he is remorseful anymore. And then I guess the only reason I'm saying that is because he's done so many things since the Rihanna thing, that obviously just begs the question that he obviously isn't remorseful anymore. Otherwise, he wouldn't keep doing them. And then the thing of the matter is that we know that people in power, is like, they don't think it matters when they do things wrong, because they know how powerful they are. Generally they do. Like, even, I guess what was shocking to me also was about when I was seeing videos of Trey Songz, and there were people in the comments being like, oh my gosh, Trey Songz is so fine. And it was like, he looks like the Trey Songz, I guess, who made, what's it called? Is it Already Taken? Yeah, he looks like that Trey Songz, but just because he looks like that Trey Songz, it doesn't mean he is. Like, do you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Those two people are completely different. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, they're two completely different. And look, this may sound like, it sounds like sympathy for a moment, but I'm just trying to, like, rationalize this, basically. Like, it's just, I don't know, because that's the thing, the Chris Brown documentary also was a bit weird, because it made it seem like we should feel sympathy for him, of the fact that he, like, he was a child and he learned abuse, and I guess that's what they're also trying to say about Diddy also, because obviously they're mentioning the fact that Diddy was in these, I mean, not that he was in them, he was too young, but I meant his mum was. That's, like, allegedly as well, though, that his mum was hosting them, and that, like, obviously he was around them at a very young age. So it's a thing of where, like, he learnt them, and it's like, it's learnt behavior. So I don't, but then I guess that's just what they're trying to, like, yeah, put into perspective. And I think to myself, although it's like, okay, I don't necessarily feel sympathy for either of them, but then it's a thing that we do know how nature and nurture works. They're two of the things in the world that, like, you know, are quite uncontrollable, because, you know what I mean, I just mean, even obviously specifically with nurture, you can't help it if you're taught things, and maybe you're taught behaviors that you shouldn't. You know, it's probably a bit hard to snap out of those things, but it's just like, I guess, I know, I mean, I'm not saying it's like, oh gosh, like, oh my gosh, that makes sense, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's why they've done it, because the thing of the matter is, and that's what stands, that they shouldn't have done it. And I think the fact of what I'm saying about the whole abusing thing is that the fact that it seems like every so often, like recently now, we're just hearing about somebody else being abused. Like, it's crazy. Like, it feels like you can't rest without hearing that another woman's been abused. And then I think what was crazy was that what I mentioned today on TikTok was that Chris Brown's only been arrested because he abused somebody who was male. Well, like, you know, there's been all these years, like of these crimes that we've heard of him abusing women, but the only time that he gets arrested, and they said it was looking like he was going to get 16 years in prison. I mean, I saw that earlier today. That was the funniest thing. I saw that today earlier, that it said he was going to get 16 years, and then I see that obviously he's released from like released by his bail, innit? And I was like, that's so weird. I was like, I genuinely believed that he was going to get arrested, and then it was the thing, like, I mean, we'll spend jail time, and then it was a thing where he wasn't, like, because the thing is that, remember, Diddy's whole case started out because he was brought in for what's it called, smuggling people. So he was brought in for that, but then it's like his case has gotten bigger. Do you know what I mean? It's been a thing where it's like most of his crimes have been unraveling, and it's kind of what you hope to do. Like, I just mean, I'm surprised that they didn't do that, I guess, with Chris Brown. Like, him being released on bail is like, is it like that he'll never go to jail again? Because it's like, it's not fair, because it's like there's all these things that he never really had time for. And it just makes you wonder if he could get out after, yes, attacking somebody else. Well, just like, how is it that he could, like, go back on the streets? This is what I always think about most crimes anyways. It's weird. Like, they'll put back people on the streets who, like, grape others. And you're like, how could a rapist, how could they, like, go back on the streets? It doesn't really make any sense. You mean to tell me that you think that they are reformed, or you think that they have changed their ways of some sorts? But obviously they haven't. It's very confusing, and that's basically, anyways, what I bring back to the whole fact of my being reborn as a woman. It's like, it's the fact that it's like, I feel so weird about it, because I know that I love being a woman, but it's like, it's weird because I'm just like, what does it mean? What does it mean if I can't be safe as one? Right? I guess even in my article, I recounted the fact of Beyonce's song. I recounted If I Was a Boy, because obviously Beyonce sings that song, and it's like, yeah, we get it, because it's always a thing that a lot of women have sang songs about wanting to be men. And that's what my article reminded me of. I was like, I've written an article where it's like, I'm like, oh, I find it so weird about being in a female body and, like, not being able to do anything about that. Yeah, I find that so weird. And then it's like, I remember all those songs, the fact that, like a Boy by Ciara and If I Was a Boy, because it's just like, we think about the fact of all these things that happen to women that we can't do anything about, but if we were men, they wouldn't be happening. Right? Like, they wouldn't be happening. So yeah, like, what was Beyonce's line again? I swear if I was a man, I'd be a better man, or something like that. That's what the line is anyway. Yeah, it's something like that. But it's just like, yeah, and I'm just confused, because it's like, I guess also what's going on is the fact of people turning it back onto Cassie and asking her why she didn't leave. And I think that's really weird, because when you're in an abusive relationship, you necessarily can't leave. Like, that's actually the main component and ingredient, not even to put it like that, but it's just like, generally that is the way that it works. I don't know what's so confusing about that, of people being like, oh, she should have just left him, but it's impossible. I think that's also what made me understand, like, it made me understand Rihanna's thing as well, because I remember the fact that, I think the documentary highlighted on this as well, even when Chris Brown abused her, she went back to him again. But this is the thing. And then they also want to show Cassie's messages as well and make it seem like she's in the wrong of some sorts. But it's like, she couldn't help the fact that, she had this person who she thought loved her, but obviously he didn't. And that's the thing, and I've always thought this about love anyway. Like, it's hard for you to really have a grapple on your like emotions or have control when you're in love. Like, honestly, people say it, people act like, yeah, people act like love is so easy, but it comes with so many different, things, like all these things to do with like trust and like, yeah, like love makes people crazy. And I mean, that's what a lot of us have said, and that's the revolving message around love anyways, because obviously it reminds me of the feedback quote, right? It reminds me of that love is awful, and that, like, of course it is, because it's like when you're in love, you don't know what you're doing. Basically, your head's not on straight, not at all. So it's just like, how could you think about leaving? Do you know what I mean? And then I guess the thing is that it drove Cassie to wanting to take her own life. Like, it was that harsh for her. Like, she didn't have any other ways of leaving than leaving the planet. And that's what I mean. That's what's very also confusing to me, and people saying that, and that's the one thing that people are like what's it called, that people are pushing forward in this whole case. I'm just very confused. Can we not talk about the fact that Diddy's a bad person first and foremost, without us talking about the fact that without us talking about the fact that, oh, why didn't Cassie leave him? But she was literally only 19 as well. That's another thing that people have been mentioning. She was only 19. She didn't know any better. So, and not even to say it like that, but of course when you're young, you don't know. You generally don't know. And I mean, she thought that he could help her. It's the same kind of thing, I guess, when we're talking, like, it's the same common thread of like this thing that all musicians have in common, like even R. Kelly, and the fact that he was grooming people. So, and it was a way of doing it in a manipulation type way. Of course, if you stay with me, I can make you famous, right? And that's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's kind of what people are trying to say anyways. Of course, they're like, oh, Cassie just wanted to stay with him because she wanted fame. But maybe that is what she wanted initially. But in the midst of it, you know, for one thing, she fell in love, and two, she felt like it was extremely hard to get out of it, which it was, and it is, I guess. I mean, just being involved in an abusive relationship, it's just one of those that you can't really escape from. And this is also another thing, again, like, even the fact that, like, I didn't know anything about Diddy's character, and then it's like, now that I'm of age, I know all these things about him that I hadn't before. These days of listening to him and him big on the music videos, and what? It's like, I generally thought that he was a good guy and all of this stuff, but all his stories are actually horrific. And obviously the more that I learn about Diddy is really against my will, and I'm just like, it's so scary. It's like, honestly, hearing about his things was actually so terrifying. It's so scary. Because it's just like, yeah, it's about characters. And I guess it's just like, you don't know anyone. That's what I'm also saying. That's what I mean. You don't know anyone, for one thing. And that also, of course, you don't know celebrities. Like I said before, you just don't know them. And then I guess, anyways, back to how I was saying about my articles, just like us women, we strive so hard to exist and be brave every day. But it's brave of us, though. That's what I want to say. It's brave of us to survive, though. That's what I'm saying. Brave of us to survive and persevere, even though it's like they don't want us to, though. But it's just very hard to. Yeah, in a total of this week, it's obviously been Chris Brown doing Chris Brown being locked up but then freed, and then I guess people were saying what happened was he said free Tory and then he got arrested. It was almost, people said it was like karma, and it probably was. And then I guess the next thing you had was DDG and Halle. And she also came out, obviously, like I said, about how Rana did pictures and then how she came out with hers as well. And then that's what's so crazy. It's like the evidence is there, and then you'll have men still saying that it's not true. Like, the craziest thing was obviously when I saw the video of DDG and his friends, I think, when they were on stream, and then he was reading the fact of all the stuff that was being said about him, and he was like, what, oh, like blah blah blah, like, I mean, he was denying it or whatever. And then also, I guess the most recent thing was him using AI. He was having a conversation with Halle in yeah, sorry, saying it makes my mind boggle, but yeah, him using AI to have a conversation with her, and he was saying all these things like, "I want you to let me see my son," and we were like, "You're actually having a conversation with your ex-girlfriend, but it's not, it's AI," and we were like, "That's actually quite twisted and quite dark," and I felt like watching that, like even us, I guess, watching it at home, I felt like this should be something that should be shown in court. Like, this is a thing where it's like, this should be enough for him to go to jail. Because I was like, it's quite disturbing, first and foremost. You're really going to have a full-blown conversation with a robot? I mean, not even to say anything like as if that people don't like use AI, because I mean, a lot of people do, and they use it for different reasons. But it's just like, I just find it so crazy that he would have a conversation with his ex-girlfriend in the form of a robot. And it's like, yeah, it's because it's like, it's weird because you know that she got a restraining order on you, and then you doing that makes us understand why she got her restraining order. Like, not even, it's like, it makes us think, aside from the abuse, which is obviously pretty important, but it's like the AI thing makes it be like, okay, we understand why she needed to get away from you, because you're actually quite nutty. Like, I thought that was really weird. Of course, I mean, yeah, so you have that, and Halle, and then I think there's also been, what's the other one? There's also been, Sky Jackson. She came out about her baby daddy, basically. Excuse me. Yes, and that. So she's also filed an restraining order with terrorizing claims against her baby daddy. And I think, wow, this is a new one, I think. This is by the E! News. It says 17 hours ago that he demanded she drink bleach while pregnant. Which is so crazy. Why would you, the first thing that comes to mind is, why would you ask the mother of your child to drink bleach? I'm like, first of all, we all know that people, like, they love their children before they're even born, right? I mean, they love them even more when they are born, but I'm like, you feel something in you when you see that scan and like they're unborn, and it's like, you think about the fact that soon they'll be out. So I'm like, I'm really confused as to why he would ask her to drink bleach if he didn't love his son. Like, you know, like, I'm just like, that's very confusing. I'm just like, that's very weird. And this is just so telling. Like, literally, I don't even know, like, abusers are just warped, basically. I started thinking I would love to end this on a great note, but then I just don't know that I can. The whole message, and that's why I even titled the episode "What's Going On." I mean, "What's Up," by was it the Non-Blondes? Yeah, I was like, can I really leave us on a optimistic kind of great message? I'm not so sure. It's crazy. I'm not so sure if I can. I would love to say that, like, yeah, for one, put down your frustrations in the comments, because this is also a place for you to vent. Like, look, remember, I vented for 54 minutes, but you should also do the same thing. Like, literally, that's why people talk about the importance of crashing out. Like, every so often, you have to crash out, and it's fine, because you have to look at, yes, you have to look at the chaos of the world, right? The fact of what my main message was, which is the fact that women are being abused left and right. No one's doing anything. For one, there's people in power who shouldn't be in power right now, but that's another thing for another day. And what else? And there's like ongoing wars. So like Free Sudan, Free Congo, and Free Palestine. There's actually so much stuff going on right now, and it's like, this is the thing. We're not even done unpacking this. That, you know what I mean? We would have to talk about this again, another time, because it's just like, talking about these things, for one, it makes you like, I don't know. For me, it obviously grinds my gears, and I guess it gets me charged up. But I needed this. And I look at this really as a session that me and you have both had. We've both literally had a therapy session. And I feel like it was quite fulfilling. So tell me how it helped you, if it did help. I know it helped me. So if it did help you, if it didn't, that's cool. But I hope to do something like this again. So I don't know what will be next on the agenda, but just anything else. Of course, don't be worried and don't be swayed. For the people who are the film listeners and show lovers, the program will still be ongoing, right? I think the next scheduled episode is supposed to be about directors. Yeah, that's the next episode. And I think I also have an episode lined up which is also about Fleabag as well. So yeah, I have a lot of things in the works, but I want to do more episodes like this, because I need a time to talk, right? So yeah, thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.